Premiership Rugby round number 11, folks. Season's greetings to you all. I hope you enjoyed some of the games. If you have watched them, we'll go through them pretty quickly and see what happened in round number 11. Boxing Day games galore. One of the games did get cancelled. That was Newcastle and SAL. So Newcastle, I think, have been awarded 4 points and SAL the 2. So it's kind of one of the unfortunate ones. But when you compare it to some of the other competitions, Super Rugby has had to rejig their whole competition, which is not set to get underway until next year, but it's been disrupted. The URC has been disrupted. So, yeah, to get as many games done as they did with the crowds that we saw, I thought was actually not a bad effort. But, yeah, Newcastle brings them to 5-4-1. 5 wins, 4 losses and a draw into 8th. They're away to Leicester next week. And SAL, 3 wins, 6 losses and a draw in 11th. And they are home to Wasps. So that kind of gets that one out of the way. Into the actual games that got played, I started my weekend with Bristol and Leicester. And that was quite the game. Fortunately, I didn't know the result, even though I didn't watch it live. I watched it, a couple hours after the fact, I think. Yeah, one that goes right down to the death. And Leicester's unbeaten run somehow continues on. They snatched this one in like the 84th minute. It finishes 3 tries to 2. Nandolo, Montoya and Porter. But yeah, look at those times. I mean, 2 in the second half, 1 in the 84th minute. And then it was 2 for Bristol through Harding and 1 to Johan Lloyd. A few missed penalties, I think, when you look back at this for Bristol. Pretty costly. I know sometimes it's just that's the way the cookie crumbles, but yeah, Sheedy missed a couple of shots at goal, which is unfortunate. The crowd did try to get them home, but it was the scrum, I think, ultimately that cost them in this one. I know scrum penalties kind of went both ways, but yeah, the scrum proved it was messy the whole bloody game, to be fair. I mean, the ref, I don't know how many scrums got completed without a penalty, but it was not many. Randall looked pretty sharp. That was good. It was good to see Radra in there. Chucking offloads. He had a try disallowed for a knock-on. Again, if that gets given, it's a Bristol win. But, I mean, it was a knock-on. Yeah, the maul try through Montoya was some proper distance. That was like one of the more... If there's such a thing as a beautiful maul try, and there are some of those, some of them where they're just purely efficient, this one was kind of it's snaking around and... yeah, it was about as beautiful as a maul try gets. WASvLIR didn't do himself any favours when he got yellow carded late on when his team was chasing the game for a charge down on Sheedy that he was never going to get to. But despite that, somehow Leicester still managed to get it done. George Ford kind of pulling the strings at the end. Why Bristol were kind of kicking the ball to Freddie Stewart towards the end of the game, I don't really understand. They had an extra man. I would have thought you go for the jugular, but they seem to be kind of keen just to run the clock down. Hindsight's 2020, right? If they kick it to Stewart and he knocks it on, then they get some good field position, maybe get a penalty or something, put it beyond doubt, but it didn't work that way. And they ended up losing it at the death. So, yeah, it was crazy at the death when Ford's touch finder gets kept in by Pietau. And they rule there's still enough time to go for a scrum because Pietau technically gets it forward when he keeps it in. So it was a really, really bizarre finish to the game. But, I mean, all things considered, for a Bristol team in the position they're in to get within touching distance of the unbeaten Leicester side, maybe that's an encouraging sign. Maybe they're going to get back on track. But, I mean... yeah, run meters 274 to 291. Leicester having the majority there. Leicester had more defenders beaten 31 to 15, but they also conceded more penalties 15 to 12. Semi Randrada 48 run meters, a clean break, 2 defenders beaten, gets a try assist, 3 offloads from him. WASvLIR, he's a unit, man. When he keeps his discipline, 63 run meters, 7 defenders beaten, but also a yellow card. So yeah, as I mentioned, Leicester top dogs, 10 from 10. It's a very, very impressive record. They are first, obviously, and they are home to Newcastle next week. Bristol down in 12th, 3 wins, 7 losses, away to Exeter. So, still maybe a bit encouraging, but yeah, ultimately they'll be pretty gutted to lose to lose that one the way they did. The next one, Saracens and Worcester. I didn't watch this one in full. I watched the highlights, and boy, 61-29 is a hiding. That's the kind of game that, I mean, there's a lot of tries, and Worcester walk away with a losing bonus, not a losing bonus point, but a 4-try bonus point. So kudos to that, because they scored 3 tries in the last 10 minutes, so they'll be happy with the way they finished the game. But the start from the highlights was literally just Saracens try, Saracens try, Saracens try. They didn't even get a highlight down Sale's end until the 36-minute try to BRIvLEI. Yeah, it was a right hiding, this one. And the timing of the tries, like every 5 minutes there was 5. Lewington got one, Vunipola got one, Good got one, like 6 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. It's just kind of, you know, ticking over. 22 minutes. Tompkins, Ezekwe 30 minutes. It's just relentless. Worcester did get one towards the end of the first half, 36 minutes, but Sarries still managed to sneak in another one on 39. So, yeah, proper hiding, this one. I mean, Francois Fenta scored a nice drive for Worcester, beat some defenders. Duan van der Merwe beat a bunch of defenders in this game, but ultimately, I mean, there was one real joke one. Ben Earl's one. They just seemed to kick it high, Sarries, and Worcester just didn't catch it and then just switched off, and Ben Earl just grabbed the ball and went over. It was one of the most bizarre tries I've seen, but there you go. They still get a point out of that game, which when it's 61-29, seems like a decent result. Yeah, most times you get 60 points on you, you don't really get anything from it. So yeah, Saracens, massive win. Turnovers conceded, Worcester had 18, which is a lot. Clean breaks in this game was 11-10. That's a stupid number of clean breaks. Most games it's like 4 or 5 each team. 21 clean breaks in a game is bonkers. Yeah, so defense sometimes not kind of up to scratch. Defenders beaten 21-39, also really high. Max Malins, 81 run meters, 2 clean breaks and a defender beaten. That's a solid shift from him. Duan van der Merwe beats 8 defenders. Fenta, like I mentioned, 65 run meters, 4 defenders beaten. So, yeah, Sarries are second. They're 7 wins, 2 losses, and a draw, which is a pretty good record, but they're just still miles behind Leicester at the moment. And Worcester are 3 wins, 7 losses, and a draw, which is good enough for 10th. Interestingly, the YouTube highlights for this one, they titled it Unbelievable Drama. I'm not quite sure what the unbelievable drama is. If you mean one side scores 60 points and the other side scores 29 is dramatic. Drama to me is like that one. Remember, they got the title wrong, like a 2-point game. That's drama. Not, how many tries did they score? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 9 tries to 5. Yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. You got to title the video something, so there you go. Saracens away to Northampton. Worcester are on the bye for the next round. Wasps and the London Irish. I also didn't see this one. I watched the highlights. I saw the next 2. So these 2 in the middle I kind of missed. This one seems like it was a pretty good game. Again, a heap of tries. I would say the try scoring rate this week was pretty high. Yeah, what do you say? Augustine Creevy just keeps getting on the board. A fair few more tries. Hookers had a pretty good outing in this one. I mean, Hassel Collins got 1. Creevy got a couple. McElroy and White. But not quite enough to get within for a losing bonus point. They do get the 4-try bonus point. Wasps, 4 tries of their own. Crossdale, 2 to Frost and 1 to Barbary. But only the 1 in the second half. The boot kind of keeping the scoreboard ticking along as well. Umanga got red carded towards the end with a high shot, but it was in the last kind of 5 minutes, so it didn't have so much kind of bearing on the game. But yeah, it was a bit of a cracking start from Wasps, really. I think the scoreline was, what, 14-3, 17-8, then it'll reply 22-8. So, yeah, but I mean, it was 25-18 at halftime. So, London Irish still continue to have that kind of, I don't know, drive to really keep pushing, even if the result doesn't always come. They still prove themselves. I mean, I want to say a hard team to beat, even though, you know, Wasps got 4 tries and won by more than a converted try. That it seems like it was a pretty good game anyway. But, yeah. Wasps end their losing run. 4 wins, 6 losses for them. They're at 9th. London Irish have got the weirdest record of all with 3 wins, 5 losses, and 3 draws. So, yeah, they are in 7th. It did seem to be pretty wet to be fair. The first try through Crossdale, he kind of slid for a mile to go for his try. Like, it seemed like he was going to be brought down well short, but he slid. So there you go. Good win for Wasps. Breaks their losing run. The next one, Bath and Gloucester. I don't know why I watched this one. I just picked this one to watch. Why I'm picking Bath to watch at this point of the season, I'm not sure. They're none from 10 after this result. In 13th, and they got 40 points put on them again. Apparently got a new defence coach who's only been around a very short time, but I mean, Gloucester, to their credit, are looking the business. I think my power rankings have been saying that for a couple of weeks. Yeah, their maul is just unbelievable. They just seem to score so many tries from mauls. They got a penalty try to start things. Bath were down 2 men with yellow cards. I mean, it was the worst possible result because you get a yellow card for repeated infringements and then still concede a penalty try, which also gets another yellow card. You'd almost be better off just letting them get the try, which is coming. Keep 14 guys on the field. But they managed to kick a penalty when they were 2 men down, did Bath, and then immediately conceded a try. They kind of kicked the ball to Gloucester, which seemed bonkers. If you can keep the ball in hand and you knock down in your own 22, maybe do so. Because kicking them the ball just seemed to be, I don't know, kind of calamitous. But yeah, penalty try, 2 to Chris Harris, 1 to Singleton, 1 to Balmain, and 1 to Moyle. Pretty consistent in keeping the scoreboard over with a bit of a dry patch in the middle-ish part. But Spencer got 1, and Bath got a late consolation 1 through Fox, which did seem kind of offside. There was a kick through. It seemed like there was an offside, but they still gave it. And in the scheme of things, it didn't matter. Maybe something to cheer up the home fans. But yeah, they had a knock on over the line through Orlando Bailey on 60 minutes. So Bath could have had more points, but they still get beaten by 20 points at home to an admittedly pretty good Gloucester side. But Bath's terrible season just goes on, doesn't it? So, I mean, penalties conceded 13 to 9. It's kind of lowish on the penalty counts, but that's Bath still with 4 more. Bath have got more possession, 36%. But clean breaks is 4 apiece, so kind of generating the same with more. Maybe speaks to some of the problems they're having. Harris, 69 run meters, 2 tries for him. Pretty good offensive shift, even if he's more known for his defensive work. Ludlow, 22 out of 25 tackles, speaking of a defensive shift. Dunn for Bath, 13 out of 14 tackles. Ajomo still looks good, 69 run meters, 4 defenders beaten. Yeah, it's tough going for Bath at the moment. They are away to London Irish next, and Gloucester are home to Harlequins. Speaking of Harlequins, they played in the last game at Twickenham. Massive crowd for this one. I watched this one this morning in my time over here in NZ. Wow, the start to the game was just bonkers crazy. Don Brandt gets 1. No, Augustus got 1. Don Brandt got 1. Augustus got another one, which was a weird try where it looked like maybe Furbank had dropped the ball and then they'd just kind of incidentally gone through, but it was actually a legit kick from Furbank. Very good skill set from him, so he got 1. And then they got another one. They got their 3 tries to 1 to start with. They had a decent lead. What was the lead? 21-7. But then 17 minutes, you got another one through Murley. So there was how many points in the first half? It was 50? It was 26-24 at half time. It was crazy. They booed Northampton the first time they went for a shot at goal, a penalty. Because up until that point, it had just been crazy. I mean, Danny Kerr with the passes, and this man Edwards, who I don't know if I know, stepping in for Marcus Smith and Tommaso Allen, who both seem to be unavailable. So there were a bit of handbags. Ratuna Yarawara and Simons. What's the ref's name? Wayne Barnes basically said if that happens again, I'll give 2 yellow cards, and he did. He did towards the end of the game, so kind of kept his word. But second half, more about Harlequins really. Liner got a long range one. He showed some proper wheels, but missed conversions. Threatened to be costly, but didn't end up being so. It was a 7-point Harlequins lead with about 8 minutes to go, and based on the way the game was going, I didn't think they were going to get overtaken. And sure enough, they scored. The rain was coming down as well by the second half, so it didn't look like Northampton, who started with a kind of hiss and a roar, didn't look like they were going to come back, and Sure enough, they did not. So it was a weird kick at the end. Like Skorsan, instead of just going down on a ball in his own 22, which had been kicked through, he just boots it dead, and then that sets up the last try to Quins. So they don't get anything from that game, Northampton, despite having a pretty good lead. You would have thought you've got 3 tries in 15 minutes, you'll at least get a fourth, get a losing bonus point. Not to be. It's a big bonus point win. I mean, at home, if you can say Twickenham. I know it's next door. It's the home ground for Quins, but yeah, good bonus point win. Happy days. Possession 57-43, territory 59-41. So Quins kind of end up dominating. Murley gets 73 run meters, 2 clean breaks. Green gets 77 run meters. Their back 3 is just deadly. Very fun to watch. The number 8s, like I said, 5 tries. Don Brown gets a hat trick, man. So 5 tries between them. Pretty crazy stuff. Not just more tries as well. Don Brown runs pretty nice angles. He's got good power game. So yeah, it was a bit of a fun one. What can I say? Quins are 6-4-0, so 6 wins and 4 losses. They're in 3rd, and Northampton have got the same record. They are 6-4-0 in 5th. So yeah, maybe not so much. I don't know. I'm trying to remember what their recent record is, but then the European games have got my mind boggled. So I know they had a bad loss in Europe. Makes me think their recent record is not good, but I'll need to go back and look. Anyway, Harlequins away to Gloucester. Northampton home to Saracens. So yeah, there you go. That was the round that was. Pretty high scoring, I feel. Kind of crazy games with lots of tries. I mean, 4 try bonus point, 4 try bonus point, 4 try bonus point, 4 try bonus point, 4 tries. Not quite 4 tries. So yeah, quite a few games with 4 tries. But maybe one game where they didn't get 4 try bonus points was the best of the lot. It was a bit of a thriller, that one. But anyway, Genj against Sinclair was a fascinating one. They'll be on the same team next year. Happy days. You guys have any thoughts on the games? As I said, season's greetings to you all. Hope you're having a bit of fun with the rugby over the festive period. Take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.